simply watch a drama or an anime without thinking, without focusing or trying to get every single word, but just watching it, casually watching it. I think that was the first time I realized, oh, wait, I'm watching, I'm getting everything.
My guy was saying your hard work is worthless, it's useless if you don't believe in yourself. It's worthless for those who
Perfect.
don't believe in themselves. You can work your body, your fingers to the bone, practicing your hiragana, your katakana, all your kanji, your tango, all the different words, the verbs, the kyoshi. But if you don't believe that with all this hard work you're gonna be able to speak someday, you're not gonna be able to speak someday. It's gonna be worthless. It's gonna be muda.
Mm.
Rose of old Japan, I'm coming back to you. There in old Japan, you'll make my
And
dreams
welcome back to the Nihongo Madoguchi Podcast with your host Domo and
Marty, what's up, everyone? Thank you for sticking in. We are hitting the 35th episode mark of our
yeah.
Nihon no Madoguchi podcast. We have more episodes than subscribers now, so we have to work a little bit more on the advertising, but it's
This
not a
is
monopoly.
true. This is true.
I think we will continue until there is only one person listening to us. We are very thankful to everyone listening to what we say, and we hope we entertain you, that we offer you some company in what some form. Hopefully what we say is a little bit interesting or gives you some interesting thoughts and everything. But yes, anyway, just wanted to, since we have missed the New Year's, the Christmas, the 1 year anniversary, I thought like in a very Alice in Wonderland, a good, how's the English version of that? Because Nandemonai Hi Banzai is the Japanese version. So, when
Yeah, yeah,
they,
Alice in Wonderland, right?
yeah, so
Wait,
when they
wait.
say Nandemonai Hibanzai, it's like they celebrate out of nowhere. That is my philosophy. So happy 35th anniversary
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
to Domo and us.
No, no. Honestly, I would say we're on record pace to make 100 episodes
Yeah.
here soon, and not that soon, but obviously we're on our way
Mm,
to hit 50, which is I would also say
definitely.
is an impressive milestone. And 35 episodes, we've been hitting consistently, putting out
Yeah.
episodes every week. Recording where we can. Obviously, life gets in the way sometimes. We won't be able to record, but trying to stay up on the recordings and also provide you guys with lovely content. And in our pursuit of that, we finally made it to episode 35. Congratulations.
Congratulations to
Congratulations to
everyone.
us. And again, as Marty said, thank you to everyone who is watching our episodes. It means the world to us. We're gonna always try to strive to provide you guys with the best content, and hopefully we can also get some more subscribers along the way.
That will be
We'll
welcome,
see.
but it's not. We don't do it for numbers. We do it for the sole purpose that we have a lot of things to say and we like to
This is
talk.
true.
That is the main reason we like to talk. That's why we do the podcast.
And honestly, yeah, like if there are some people who are willing to watch, we're willing to speak and put it out.
Most definitely.
Uh, we did not start the
Speaking of which,
podcast to be internet famous. Yes,
yeah,
yeah,
we are already famous in our little garden.
yes. We're big fish in a small pond.
Very small. ポンドというか、水たまりですね。
Oh, it's just a little puddle. I see. My. Hopefully
Be
that
humble,
puddle
be
will
humble.
grow
Mm.
into into a bigger puddle, and then into maybe like a lake at some point.
Yes.
Or maybe from a puddle to a pool, like a little kiddie pool. A
Mm.
pool for kids, and then into a public pool, and then just keep going from there,
Small, small.
and getting bigger.
That reminds me of the
Yeah,
image of the frog in the well that's looking at the sky. And that's a little bit how I feel about my Japanese, or I used to feel about my Japanese. Like, you know,
mm.
do you see what I did here?
Yeah. I see what you did there. I see what you did there, Marty. He's getting better at these transitions. I like it. I like it.
Thank you very
So
much.
obviously, they a frog in a well is a common expression, just in English and in Japanese as well. As we've come to find out as our Japanese has improved, and kind of going off of that, riffing off of that, today's episode is about when did we realize? When did we know that we were Jozu in Japanese? When did we like? What was the moment when we were? I was. We felt that you could actually properly speak Japanese, have a conversation about just about anything with anyone about most topics in Japanese. When did you have that confidence to just speak and not worry about the little things, that kind of thing? And this kind of stems from an interaction I had uh, here in Saga. It was actually from a high school student who's
Oh,
studying
really?
English,
Mm,
and so he had asked me. He said, "Domo, when did you know you could speak Japanese?"
mm.
And it kind of like it
Interesting.
really hit me. I was like,
Mm,
huh, when did I know? I was like, that's a really great question. And he said he had gotten the question from social media or something. He had
mm.
seen someone talking about this, and I was like, this would be a great episode for the podcast. And
Definitely.
here we are. We are here to provide you, to regale you of our histories with the Japanese language, and kind of our struggles, obviously, but
Of
our
course.
triumphs. When did we finally overcome it, and we're officially in our minds, Nihongo Jozu. Because everyone
Mm.
knows, Japanese people tell you Nihongo Jozu. You're
But
probably
are
not
you
Jozu.
though?
But when did you feel that you were actually Jozu?
Mm.
Right. And just to kind of go off of that, how do you want to kind of start us off, Marty? Or was that were
Sure.
you about to say something? I kind of
Sure,
cut you
sure,
off.
sure.
Yeah.
No, 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 no issues. But I was thinking also, it may seem in a first approach a rather trivial question. As you say, it was something that he took out of the social media. At the same time,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
quite an important question that you can and you should ask yourself, especially if you're studying a new language. Or this actually applies to anything that you are studying, if you're studying for a new job, or if you're studying from anything that is practical. When can you consider yourself good enough? That is actually a great question. That as when you asked me this off camera 20 minutes ago, I was like, oh wow, that's actually I never thought about that. Like
Right.
that
Right. Right.
moment,
Like.
but but I can say that I'm confident enough that I can speak in Japanese or in English for the matter, because it's not my native tongue. But that's actually a good question. I will maybe start our discussion with a tangent observation.
Oh.
Is
Hey. Yeah.
rather when I realized that I couldn't speak Japanese at all.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
So I studied
All right.
before going to Japan for the first time. I studied 2 years of Japanese at university. Then went 1 month to Japan, came back, did another year of university, and then I went for 1 whole year in Japan with Domo. We
Mm,
were in Kyushu University, Kyudai, in Fukuoka prefecture and city. And at
yeah.
that time, I realized I couldn't speak Japanese yet. The reason is that I went to the kombini
Mm,
just after we came. It was probably we were in Japan for like a week or not even a week.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was very confident because in France I used to speak Japanese as much as possible. I already traveled in Japan
Mm,
without any apparent issues. And I step into the kombini, I do my shopping, then I go for paying, and the clerk speaking to me, and I have no idea
yeah.
what they're saying. And I'm like,
Nothing. Nothing.
wow, what? Binire bukuro irimasu ka? It's such a simple question. And I was like, I gotta study more.
No, like I know exactly what you mean. If I
Mm,
could also provide an example of when I knew I
yes.
was in Jozu,
Mm,
uh, actually I have an almost identical
mm,
story about a Benidu Bukuro.
mm,
So I came for the JTW.
yes.
Before that, you guys know I
Mm,
did a internship,
mm,
and maybe a couple of days in, our supervisor, she takes us to a supermarket, and just to get some things that we might need, for
mm,
just everyday life, and get to the register.
yes.
And now at this point, I've been studying Japanese for 5 years, on and off, three consistent years, and
Mm,
then I took a year off, and then I got to university, started studying again, but um, we get to the register, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't know what she's gonna ask me, but I know just in general they'll probably ask me if I want a bag or something, or if I'm gonna pay with
Yes.
cash or credit.
Mm.
Like it's kind of like using my just common sense. Okay, she asked me if I was gonna pay in cash. Genkin. I was like, yep, Genkin. Who first check? Nice. All right. And then she asked me about a point card. Lost me. A point card. God, arimasen. I don't know, but obviously it worked clear.
Mm.
And then we get to the final question: Biniru bukuro, or actually, yeah, it was Biniru bukuro. Yeah. She said Biniru bukuro. Now in my head, I knew she was gonna ask me for a bag. I only knew fukuro, and I was like, Biniru. Like I heard the bukuro part, but it didn't register as fukuro in my head.
Huh.
Because I had the ten on there. I was stuck on the Biniru. I was like, now I was trying to figure out what word, because it's katakana, right? What
Yes.
word is this similar to in English? And I was like, she's saying banita, banita bukuro.
Doesn't make sense,
I
no?
was like, you wanna? Do I want a vanilla
Mm.
bukuro? And I was lost. I was lost. Luckily, my supervisor was there, and
Mm.
I like after a few seconds of looking at her and nothing was coming out. I turned to my supervisor. I was like, vanilla, because she spoke English,
Ah,
and
right.
she was like, no, a plastic bag. And I was like, it's not plastic bagu. What do you mean? It's a bonita bukura. Yeah,
Biniru.
it was binitu. I don't. I think everyone, kind of stumbles if you don't know it, like
Mm.
before going into the store. Like everyone will probably like stumble with
Mm.
with that word. It's the bane of my existence. I was like, okay, yeah, we got to work hard.
Yeah, it's usually when you're expecting a different word and you're hit with this and you cannot
Yeah,
process it properly, like quickly, then you usually kind of like spam into this kind of, let's say, hole in
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
in the street. I had, I don't remember exactly what, but I had like a similar experience where like the word was very simple, but I was simply not processing it. It was not falling into the right piece in my brain or something.
Mm,
That it was stuck there for a moment. So yes, interesting that we both stumble upon Viniro Bukuro. But
it,
to come back
yeah.
to our main topic, because I
The
know that
topic, yeah.
I have a tendency to go out of topic and then never come back to the original topic.
Me too, me too.
I would say I have two moments, two experiences where I could
Mm,
say that I realized afterwards that I was
mm.
fluent enough in Japanese. I mean,
Okay.
fluent enough in Japanese, period. I would say
Mm.
one, and then we come to you, and then I come back for the second one. I
Sure, sure,
think
sure, 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 sure.
the first one that I realized I was somewhat fluent in Japanese was when I could watch TV turning off my brain in Japanese. So
Oh, okay, okay.
watching TV or watching any dramas and animated content. Basic stuff, of course, because to this day, when I watch Taiga drama, they speak such a complex Japanese that
Yeah,
I
yeah,
get
yeah,
20%, 35% of what they're saying, but sometimes it's very hard. But like
yeah.
Nichijo, like very quote everyday
Sure, yeah.
materials, very simple or like very not specific words or specific
Mhm.
lexicon. I can watch I watch my animes without subtitles in Japanese, for example, but not actively.
Mm.
Just watching
Yeah, yeah,
them, following through without being focused on what they say. I think that was one of the moments when I realized I could handle Japanese pretty well. Is that
Mm.
you don't have to process the information anymore. Of course, if since you're turning off your brain, it's like a figure of speech, but to some extent, it's not like you're intaking all the information that you're getting from the media,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
this does not impact your understanding of what is going on. So you can
Mm.
follow things through, like similar to how you would watch TV in English, or in my case in French or in
Yeah.
Italian. So I can simply watch a drama or an anime without thinking, without focusing or trying to get every single word, but just watching it, casually watching it. I think that was the first time I realized, wait, I'm watching, I'm getting everything. Like It was quite a. I don't have like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this date in mind, but
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
overall experience also going to the movie theaters. I used to go to the movie theaters a lot in Japan. And when you watch
Mm,
a Japanese movie in a movie theater, it's not like you have subtitles. It's not something if
it's
you're
true.
watching a Japanese production. But I could still watch it without any issues. So that is probably the moment I realized afterwards. It was a very good boost in confidence as well, like self-confidence and also trust in my potential. Oh, I can understand
Mm,
Japanese. So that helps progressing as well because you now have less fear of doing mistakes. You have less trust issues in your potential. Therefore, you can express it more. So that was my first impression. So, what about you, Tomo?
no, like that was actually quite interesting. Like
Mm,
your specific episode or your example that you just gave. Because before I get into my answer
sure,
of
sure.
my of one of my, because I also have about, I'll mention
Mm,
two things, two times, because there are a few times when I realized, oh, maybe I do know Japanese, maybe I do speak Japanese better than I thought. Um, but like the TV thing and watching,
mm,
media and anime without
yeah.
subtitles, that was an explicit goal of mine,
Mm,
as I was, trying to get better and studying my Japanese. And like you said, when you get to the point where you can just have it playing, like sometimes I'll just have anime playing in the background while I'm doing
mm,
something else,
mm,
and I do that in English with English media as well. And so once I got to that point, and I might not be actively listening, I might not even
mm,
be listening at all. I just like the noise. But like with English content, I might like the noise, but sometimes I will like tune in to see like what's
mm,
happening. Um, and I can kind of, if I just look over there, I can see the screen. I'm like, okay, okay, this is what's going on. I was able to do that once with Japanese, right? And like something was happening, and I just tuned in. I can
mm.
understand what was happening, but I looked, to get full clarity, looked at the TV. I was like, okay, yeah, I understood what was going on, like,
Right.
and so that's a really good really good example and a really good tell that you might be better at Japanese than you might have previously thought.
And also,
Now for me,
one
yeah,
last thing, and
so let-
also it's something that you can realize by yourself. It's that because if you have to
mm,
speak, you need to speak to someone, so you have to
it's true.
be involved in some kind of social interaction. But with this media thing, it's passive, so you can realize it on your own without having to speak with someone. So sorry, coming back to you, Domo. So
No,
what was your
no, no,
first?
no. No, exactly right. Now for me, my first, the first time that I realized that I might be Jozu,
Mm,
was actually a specific like episode with a specific person. Now I
mm,
don't remember this person's name. I don't remember where this happened. Um, I don't remember the day, but I do remember that it happened.
mm,
And now to give some kind of background, some context here, even to this day, when I speak Japanese, I analyze each sentence after I say it. I'll replay it in my head to make sure I didn't
right.
make a mistake, and if I made a
Mm,
mistake, I say it again. I just re-say it.
mm,
I don't say I messed up. Obviously, I'll stop mid sentence and then just restart.
right.
Um, and so this is a habit I've had since I started studying Japanese, and I when I was during the JCW days, it was very prevalent. My Japanese was bad.
Mm,
It was bad. I was making mistakes all the time. Every now and again, I might have a decent sentence here or there, but it was terrible. Now there was one time because this is 2017, 2018, right?
right.
Now this was during the presidential term of he who shall not be named, and so I was at a bar. I was at a bar, drinking, just having a nice little time. And one of the Japanese guys there, he comes up to me. And, and this is an interaction you have with every person in Japan,
Okay.
if you're a foreigner.
Mm,
Hey, how long you been in Japan? Oh yeah, I've been in for X amount of years, X amount of months. Where you
mm,
from? Oh, I'm from yada yada yada.
mm.
And as soon as I told him I was from America, he was like, "Oh, what do you think about Trump? How do you feel about Trump?" And without hesitation, I said he needs to be impeached right now. And I listed off a couple of reasons why. And at the time, because I was drunk, I wasn't analyzing, as like I normally do. But after the fact, I went back. I was like, did I say that correctly and with proper grammar? And I may have made a little mistake here, but
Right.
overall, that was a solid a solid bleeping sentence.
We can
That was a
swear
solid sentence.
with moderation in this podcast.
Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah,
Nice.
maybe all of my hard work is finally paying off. Like, now the word impeachment in and of itself is a word I learned in like one of my Japanese classes. I don't remember which one,
Right.
but it was in there, and I was able to pull it out when I needed it. It came, and it was effortless. Like that was when I was like, oh, it wasn't like what was that word?
Mm,
Impeach. It was came straight out, and it was smooth as butter. I was like, oh,
it's good.
I might actually be Nihongo Jozu. Hold on, this might be a new step in my Japanese journey. I can actually now, that was like one instance, and most of my conversations were still kind of like meh.
Mm,
But I was like, hold on, maybe I have to actually internalize what I've learned. I just keep overthinking, over analyzing and stuff like that. So maybe I just need to just
turn it
stop doing
down.
that.
Mm,
Tone it down a little bit. Yeah. It was a joyous moment. Now, unlike Marty's first example, this was it's similar in the sense that I realized it myself, but it was through a conversation with someone else.
mm,
Right. I was talking to someone about a certain topic, and I was able to express myself uh, quite well, quite fluently, and
right.
that was when I was like, oh, okay, maybe we're on the right track here. Okay, maybe I can speak a little bit of Japanese. It was very like Maria said as well, very confidence boosting. My
Yeah.
my confidence was like went straight up after that. Yeah. It was quite nice.
Yeah, it feels so good when you have like these not basic but rather specific words that come out
Yeah,
flawlessly that you may have
you're
learned
like,
and you forgot, but you can pull them out like maybe because of the rush of the moment,
ooh,
that the passion towards the orange man brought this boost of like you were your dissatisfaction went beyond your Japanese level to just share
oh,
your
that's crazy.
vibe.
Oh
So
no.
you're endlessly
Maybe.
tied with the orange man now.
Yeah, we won't talk about that right now.
No,
That's
no,
gonna
no,
take us
no.
on another tangent.
Too
But
many
Marty, you wanna
tangents.
you wanna go ahead and let us know about your second
Sure,
episode, or when
sure.
the second time you knew you were Nihongo Jozu, or you were like, maybe I can
Maybe.
speak Japanese a little
I mean, it's quite related to what you just said, and also coming out
bit.
that you said one thing that is very important is that so you have a tendency to overanalyze things, and one of
Yeah,
the things that made you go beyond that to a certain extent is just stop thinking about this. That is actually a good
yeah.
tip that would like to always give to people, especially people not only studying Japanese, studying a language in general, a foreign language in
Mm,
general, is that of course, if you're studying it in school, that you have some evaluation, that you have some exams, that you have to learn it, then it is important to not make mistakes. But people make mistakes everywhere and every time. And language is a
yeah.
living thing. So there is no,
Mm,
it is constantly evolving. It is very malleable. The language that my parents or my grandparents spoke, it's not the language that I speak. So
mm,
with this in mind, don't don't care about doing mistakes. As long as you can interact to someone, that will give you more experience in using the language than just stop
yeah,
speaking because you're not hitting the good grammar correct. I mean grammar
yeah.
composition, the good phrasing. If you think about the amount of course, if you're not intelligible, if you cannot
Yeah,
make yourself understandable to your
yeah,
interlocutor, I
yeah,
mean that there is another problem. But you already have a lot of like walls and a lot of filters because of you're not have such a knowledge of the language. You don't need
yeah.
unnecessary. Just speak your whole heart,
Just
and
speak.
that's just also what I would like to say to the Japanese people in general. Especially, I don't know why, but they have this kind of um, a priori. They have this kind of impression that they have to speak
Mm,
perfect English. You know,
mm,
the perfect pronunciation, perfect word, and everything. And I always ask them when casually talking with Japanese people, but what is the correct English? You know, especially with English. Is it British English or is it
right,
American
right, right,
English?
right.
And they're like, oh, American English. And I'm like, but is it New York English, Los Angeles English, Texas English? You know, the variation, the regional
Yeah.
variation of English is so vast. There is such a
Mm,
multitude of English that words, expression change so much. Not to speak about Australian, Singapore, New Zealand, that there is no need to seek for like this scholastic perfect pronunciation of English. And
right, right, right.
also the words themselves, just speak with your thick Japanese accent. It's perfectly fine as long as you make yourself understandable to the other. And that is
I,
the moment when I decided that I wouldn't try forcing an accent in English. I have like
mm,
apparently relatively thick Italian accent. That's what people
I
when
I don't know if
that's
it's thick, but we can tell. I can tell you're
yeah,
not
mamma
American.
mia, I speak like this with come Mario. No, 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 no. But when I was in England, also they were like, "Hey, you are Italian." I was like, "Oh, is my accent this bad?" But I don't care as long as I can make myself understandable and I am good enough to listen to in a podcast. Don't care. So you shouldn't care. Sorry, that was
No,
I went
yeah,
through.
another tangent. And actually, just to add on to that last bit of your
Sure.
tangent about the accent, um, I don't. I'll have to find the exact quote. I'm sorry,
Mm,
I'm gonna butcher it. But there was someone who was talking about people who are speaking English as a second language, coming to America
yes.
and having very very thick accents,
Mm,
and some people make fun of them because of the accent, and it was they were saying that someone speaking English with an accent is something to be admired, something to
yes.
be proud about
Mm,
because you've learned another language that's not your native tongue.
mm,
Um, into a proficient level that people can still understand you, even with your accent. They're just saying you sound funny, but that's not stopping you from communicating. I can't remember the quote, but it was basically talking about an accent is something you should wear as a badge of honor.
yeah.
Your blood, sweat, and tears led you to this point of you studied this language to a point to where you're proficient.
Yeah.
Your pronunciation might not be perfect, your accent might not be the standard, but who cares? As long as you're able to communicate, like Marty was saying.
Yes.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And I will.
That's a beautiful. That's,
I will.
this episode's fire. Come on, this episode is fire.
Do you want me to put a nail on this episode? If you I will just throw a provocation into the air, but if you think about it, everything that is not British English is foreign English. So, if you speak
You know
about
what?
Native
I,
American, there
I,
is not a Native English American to start with.
I,
So
I won't
I will leave
I
it
won't
there.
go there on
I will
this
leave it
podcast.
there.
But I'll say one other thing, and this is kind of like are we how are we doing on the time?
Yeah,
What's
we're
the
good.
time
We're good.
looking
We're
like? Are
good.
we
We're
running?
good. We're good.
We're good. Okay, all right. So one other thing, one other time when
Mm,
I realized that I was Jozu was not
mm,
something that happened that I realized myself. It was something that someone said to me.
right.
And this is something. This is also something I want to tell. I want to share with you guys
Mm,
because we tend to get caught into this kind of this pattern, I guess if you want to call it, and it is a byproduct of Japanese.
yeah.
I'll let you know, and what that thing is the when you get complimented on your Japanese, the standard, the only appropriate response is "mada mada des," yeah, mada mada. That is what you learn to say and it's baked, it's ingrained. It gives you a glimpse of the culture, right? You want to be humble. You don't want to be like, yeah, yeah, I'm super Jozu, brother. Yeah,
そうだ
I
ね。
know. Yeah,
そ
you're
うだ
Jozu
ね。
ね. Wakateru. Shiteru yo. You don't want to be
言わ
like
れなく
that,
ても大丈夫
and
で
you
す。
always right, you want to keep yourself, humble. Even if you might aren't good at Japanese, you do want to keep your stay on the low. You don't want to ever like boast. And I had I've always kept that in my mind. Always a mata mata. It's just what you say, and like he would just mata mata. Something you don't even think about it. It's just a mata 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 mata. And this is back when I was in the States. We had we always have like Japanese exchange students come to our university, and from my third year on, I was one of the Japanese TAs. There's three of us.
Right.
Usually, it's an American who's been to Japan, a Japanese person, one of the exchange students, and then a third person. At least when I was there, it was usually a Japanese American. So you have the best of all three worlds.
Right.
And I remember one time we had TA hours. So those hours that you have outside of the lesson, where the teacher is not available. Right? It's outside of teaching hours, outside of office hours, and so the TAs go to a certain location for a certain amount of time to help the students with anything that they might have issues with, whether it's homework or they want to get in contact with the sensei or whatever. And I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but I remember the Japanese exchange student there. She had told me, she was like, "Man, your Japanese is really good." We're speaking Japanese, but man, that's Nihongo Jozu, man. And I hit her with a mata mata. That's what you hit. It's what you do. She said mata mata. She said to me, she said, "Stop." She said, "Stop." She's like, if you're Jozu, brother, you're Jozu. If you're not Jozu, then who is Jozu? And I I thought I thought to myself, I was like, huh, like because at that point I did feel confident enough to say that I speak Japanese, right? At that point, I knew that I could speak Japanese, but I was still always saying mata mata, mata mata, which is true. My Japanese isn't perfect. I still do have a long way to go. But that mata mata is always like it is kind of like it downplays your Japanese, like you don't really speak that much. And she's like, if you're not good, who's good? And I was like, huh,
Interesting
all
question.
right, I've never been asked that question before, and it taught me to accept that I'm Jozu. I actually speak a little Japanese, and to actively express my gratitude when someone does notice how Jozu I am. So I still hit them with a mata mata, but I'll hit them with arigato gozaimasu before that. Arigato gozaimasu. Demo mata mata
まだまだ
desu.
です。
I'll accept the compliment. You want you worked hard for this. We've worked hard for this. Thank you. I appreciate you noticing that, but I still have a long way to go. Mada mada desu, korekara desu.
これからですね。
And that's what I've been doing ever since that moment. Whenever anyone hits me with a Nihongo Jozu, I'm arigatou gozaimasu.
Interesting.
And it does change your thought process a little bit from the mara mara to
I'm
the
just trash.
arigato. Demo mara mara, right? You can hold your chest out a little bit. Arigato gozaimasu. Demo mara mara. It does boost your confidence up a little bit because you speak Japanese. And that was another time. That was another time when I realized I
You
could,
are Jozu.
even though I knew that I could speak Japanese, I wasn't actively, what do you want to say that? What do you want to say? I wasn't actively expressing that or showing that, when people would compliment me on my Japanese. And I learned, and this is what I want you guys to also know. It's okay. It's okay to accept the compliment,
Definitely.
like you would do in English, because I think it's just baked again. It's baked into the language, into the culture, to be humble, to be the mata mata. If it was in English, someone said your Japanese is really good, you'd be like, ha,
Thanks,
yeah,
man.
thanks, man. Yeah, I've been working hard, but I'm still just a beginner or something. You would accept the compliment. You would say thank you instead of Nah, I'm not. I'm not there yet. I still got a long way to go. You might say that later, but you would probably most likely accept the compliment first. And so don't get too bogged down in the standards
The
in the
self-deprivation, yeah.
this is how it's supposed to be done. Or this is how this
Mm,
they've always done it.
mm,
You can accept the compliment. You can accept the Nihongo Jozu compliment
I agree.
and say thank
I also have recently changed a little bit my reaction to the Nihongo Jozu. Is that, first of
you.
all, mada mada, and then I follow it
Of
up
course.
with something like, でも、10年間勉強してますからね. For like, it's not like I was born
Yeah,
with the knowledge of
yeah,
Japanese
yeah, yeah,
instilled
yeah,
into me. It's like
yeah,
I've been studying it for 10 years, so I hope I can reach at least a certain level of proficiency in the language that I can speak with you. So I try to downplay it by saying, I've been studying for 10 years.
No, that's interesting that you mentioned that because I also say something similar.
Hmm.
Um, so after they be like, oh, Nihongo Joe's this and that, I'll say, ah, arigato gozaimasu, mada this. They're like, yeah, more. Obviously, because they've already asked me how long I've been here.
Right.
And usually they'll say, and then I'll say 5 years or something like that. They're like, oh,
Only
yeah, but then
5 years.
so 5年間でこんなに上手にな
にペラペラなると。
れるとは。And I'm like,いや、僕はもう、13年ぐらい、13年間ぐらい勉強してるから、もう、まだ日本語話せなかったら、
恥ずかしいね。
いや、すごいんですよ、逆に。いや、もう、バカですよ。
そうだね。
まだ話せなかったら、right? You
Mm.
trying to make a joke out of it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Downplay it a
And
little bit
so,
while
yeah,
accepting
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the compliment.
And so, and I think that's also a great approach.
Yeah.
I've been studying for 10 years. Mother, but yeah, I've been studying for 10 years, so it makes sense. It makes
Which
sense.
make me think of
Nantanaku.
the second time I realized I was some kind of fluent in Japanese.
Yeah.
So of course I can speak 4 languages. Of course, two of them are my native tongue to a certain. I mean, Italian is my native tongue. French is very close to my native tongue, and then
Yeah,
English
yeah,
and Japanese, of course. And depending on what language I use, like the levels of proficiency varies. English goes up, Japanese goes
yeah,
down,
yeah.
and yada yada. And I realized when I was living in Japan for 2 years after Corona
Mhm.
hit and everything, that sometimes I was less tired of speaking Japanese, like mentally,
Mm,
and also the throat, like the overall shape of the
yeah, yeah,
mouth and everything.
yeah,
Then
yeah.
when I was
All
speaking,
that. Yeah.
yeah, like when I was during the year exchange program, we did 1 year in Japan, and I tried to speak as much as possible in Japanese. I remember being to the host family as well and speaking Japanese as much as possible. But I
Mm,
remember that when I was using it for like more than 3, 4 days, I used to get like brain fatigue, language fatigue, and
yeah.
also like muscle fatigue, like the proper
The
mouth.
actual muscles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like this. Your tongue is not, and your face, your muscle are not used to these movements to the extent that
it's
you
true.
get
It's true.
like your jaw start to feel tired. And I remember that I was with my in-laws, I think. We were together for like 10, sorry, not years, not yet, 10, 5 to 10 days
Yeah, 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 yeah.
together. And I was speaking Japanese daily, and I was not getting mental fatigue. I was not getting physical, and
Mm,
I was like, oh, that's a good sign. That means that
it
it's so
is. Yeah.
natural for me to speak in Japanese to the extent that I don't get fatigue. So that was my quicker than the previous example, but that was the
No,
second
no, yeah.
time. I'm not having this fatigue of speaking both mentally and physically. That was a good teller that I was fluent enough to be considered Jozu.
No, exactly. If anyone watching our podcast can
Mm,
and who knows a second language, they've studied a second language or 3 or 4 languages, like our host Marty here. You know what it feels like to
he
use
said
a
yes.
language that you're not used to, and physically
Mm,
it hurts the muscles, and you go home and you're just exhausted mentally, like you're just like, I
yeah.
don't want to think about anything. You just want to and it does kind of affect you physically, that kind of
Mm,
mental fatigue. You're just tired, and I definitely felt that when I originally came to Japan in 2017, and when I came back to Japan in 2021. I didn't really have the mental fatigue
mm,
because I'd always been studying Japanese. even after I went back to the States, but I wasn't speaking it as much. So when I came back, it physically hurt to speak Japanese.
Yeah.
Uh, and words weren't coming out. My tongue wasn't tonguing,
Mm.
and it was yeah, I felt like my Japanese had gotten worse. Compared to my when I was an exchange student in Japan, I was like,
Mm.
this is not good. But like Marty says, after you get used to it, after a certain amount of time, your body will get used to it. Your brain will stop feeling tired
Yeah.
because okay, it'll be like okay, this is what we're doing now. We're speaking Japanese now. Okay, all right, I'll
No
make it work,
problemo.
and it'll work. It'll do what it needs to do, and that could be a sign that you've gotten used to Japanese.
Yeah.
You're more comfortable with it, and you can probably speak it without too much of an issue. Who knows?
Mhm.
You too might be Jozu and just don't know it.
You are. You don't know it yet, but you are.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Hey,
yes sir.
even if you're not, you are. You'll always be.
You gotta you gotta believe it. You gotta believe it to achieve it.
Yeah.
You gotta have. There's a quote by Might Guy from Naruto,
Mm. Yeah.
and he was talking to Rock Lee. We're weebs here. We're all weebs here.
Yeah.
He's talking to Rock Lee. Obviously he can't use chakra or anything like
Mm.
that, so he can only use taijutsu. He only throw these hands,
Mm-hmm.
and he always feels like he can't catch up to everyone who can use chakra and use jutsu and stuff like that. And so he always feels like his hard work is just not enough. He works super hard, harder than everybody, but he's like, it's just not enough. I feel like I can't make it. I can't be as good as everyone else. But no, like Marty was just saying, you gotta believe it. You gotta.
Mm-hmm.
My guy was saying your hard work is worthless. It's useless if you don't believe in yourself. It's worthless for those who
Perfect.
don't believe in themselves. You can work your body, your fingers to the bone, practicing your hiragana, your katakana, all your kanji, your tango, all the different words, the verbs, the kyoshi. But if you don't believe that with all this hard work you're gonna be able to speak someday, you're not gonna be able to speak someday. It's gonna be worthless. It's gonna be muda.
Mm.
Um, so I think that was a great way to kind of wrap us up here,
Yeah.
Marty.
Yeah. Definitely. I was about to say the same thing. So I think you've said everything. That was. I mean, I suppose that you still had some things to say, but I'm
Ah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah. It's
We kind of ran out
part
of
two.
time. Part two, part three. We have so many part two
Part
to do.
we still haven't done one of the. I think we've done one part two,
Yeah.
and I forgot which one it was. It was the Uchi and Soto.
Yeah.
Right, we did the
That was
Uchi, and then
optional.
the.
Yeah. That was needed. So
But
yeah.
we have a couple of other part twos we have not done
Welcome.
yet. We need to.
Welcome.
We need to
You're welcome.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. So yes,
There
I
may be
think
a part two here. We'll see.
you had a very thought-provoking and very interesting conclusion, and also a little bit of a nerdy conclusion, but that was for the good cause. So I would say,
Yes, sir.
yeah, we have nothing else left to say for today, but just bid you a farewell. Thank you for listening, and we hope we entertained you, and most of all,
So.
soigi!